Another location seems like it's going to be approving the Microsoft Activision Blizzard deal. This time, South Africa is weighing in, or at least the Competition Commission of South Africa has released a statement supporting the deal and has now passed it to, I believe, the tribunal to say, yeah, you should let this go through. Let's dive into what has happened right now. So you can see right here, this is the media statement, and I've gone through and done my typical thing where I highlighted some of the key statements. So long and the short of it is, this is a statement on the latest decisions by the Competition Commission. The Competition Commission of South Africa held its ordinary meeting to review and take decisions on matters brought before the Commission by members of the public and corporate applicants in terms of the Competition Act as amended. These matters include, but are not limited to, complaints, mergers, and acquisitions. So the first one that they talk about is the Anchorage, which is the subdivision of one of the companies, Activision Blizzard, Inc. merger. Anchorage is Microsoft. Let's just read it. The Commission has recommended that the Competition Tribunal approve the proposed transaction whereby Anchorage intends to acquire Activision without conditions. The primary acquiring firm is Anchorage, a company registered in accordance with the general competition law in the state of Delaware. Anchorage is the wholly owned subsidiary of Microsoft. So just giving you a little clarity on why you're seeing Anchorage and not Microsoft. The important bit is down here. The primary competition concern in this transaction arose from the vertical concern that Microsoft may, post-merger, restrict the distribution of Call of Duty to the Microsoft console, Xbox, or make Call of Duty available on terms that exclude or undermine the ability of other console manufacturers' ability to compete. Added the word ability. The Commission found that the proposed transaction is unlikely to result in significant foreclosure concerns, as the parties do not have the ability and incentive to foreclose competing game distributors, particularly Sony PlayStation and Nintendo Switch. Furthermore, the merging parties have made undertakings to continue supplying Call of Duty games to other console manufacturers. They've extended 10-year deals to Nintendo, who have agreed. Valve is who makes the handheld, I guess, has agreed or has said we don't even need to sign anything because it doesn't make any sense for you to take it off of Steam. And PlayStation has, withheld and continued saying things. Therefore, the Commission found that the proposed transaction is unlikely to result in a substantial prevention or lessening of competition in any relevant markets. The Commission further found that the proposed transaction does not raise any substantial public interest concerns. So long and the short of it is, it seems like they're going to let the deal go through, but there's a little bit more context here. ITIS clarified, let me find the statement here, because there was a clarification on how it's phrased exactly. So Florian Mueller talked about it, and he kind of posted what we just read. And he said, not formally approved yet, although as good as done. This is a large or very complex merger. In South Africa, the Commission can only recommend the Competition Tribunal to approve this kind of transaction. Now, and within 10 business days of receiving the recommendation, the tribunal must schedule a date and time for a hearing and must make its final decision within 10 business days of the hearing's completion. The tribunal is the one who will approve it. By late April or early May would be my guess. But yes, South Africa is almost done. And it does seem like South Africa is leaning towards approval, but just giving you some context about how the deal works, because I also thought, oh, the deal's all approved and done. No, there's still some stuff to go through. And the thing I just linked to was just how it works. So basically, it seems like you said, they still have, a little bit of time to go through and reject it if for some reason that would suddenly become an issue. Florian Mueller also kind of talked about the same thing, talking about how, okay, the deal has been granted unconditional clearance to the deal, but it does still have to go through the tribunal. He pasted all that, but he answered some questions down here that I wanted to talk about really quick. So a lot of people have questions about how the whole thing works. And one of the ones I noticed that I found sort of interesting was this reply. I think People knew it would go through, but Jim Ryan has a duty to shareholders to go hard trying to get it blocked. He also has a duty to shareholders to ensure Sony doesn't lose its credibility with regulators and to de-escalate, because if the gaming sector gets subjected to more regulatory scrutiny, Sony is first in line. I've seen this talking point a lot. Like, it's just kind of, people seem to really like this phrase that Jim Ryan has a duty to shareholders, and I've seen a few people run with it. And yeah, he has a duty to shareholders to, like, you know, do the best thing he can for the company. But at some point, we have to look at what he's been doing and say, is this really what's best for the company? Because what are you doing at this point? You're making the same argument that you've made that has been failing for you since the start of this thing. It's getting approved almost everywhere now. Who's left? New Zealand's left, CMA and EU. And all three of those places have been, well, at least the two big ones have been leaning towards approval. And then New Zealand will likely allow it to go through. China seems to be leaning towards approval because, you know, Microsoft's not that big in China, so I don't think there's many concerns there. People see these contracts. At some point, I have to wonder, is he still doing what's in the best interest of the company, or would be going to the table with that contract and getting the best next 10 years you possibly can a better way to handle it? The deal's not going to get blocked. Like, it's since the start, it seemed like the deal was going to go through. I've thought the deal was going to go through. So sure, Jim Ryan has a duty to stakeholders to, you know, keep PlayStation at the forefront. And he has mostly succeeded. He has a great contract on the table with, I believe, better terms. And it's really strange to me that he's still acting like this would be the end of PlayStation. I think we all know that's not going to happen. I don't think PlayStation gamers are going to start leaving in droves to go play with Xbox. And any PlayStation fans that watch this, like, you're not going to suddenly, as soon as the deal goes through, are you going to sell your PlayStation 5 and never buy a PlayStation again? Because that's the argument that they keep making. They say that you don't care about Spider-Man anymore. You don't care about any of the other games, God of War. You don't care about God of War anymore. Like, it's just ridiculous. Like, nobody's going to start suddenly leaving the PlayStation brand in droves because Call of Duty's on Game Pass. That's just not going to happen. And at this point, the deal is at a juncture where Sony doesn't really need to sign, but maybe going and saying things about how the deal is bad and how they're just playing the same tune again, it's just starting to ring really hollow. And I think it's starting to make them look bad. You've definitely seen public sentiment shift towards, what are you doing, Sony? At least that's my 2 cents on it. So, I keep hearing that thing. He has a duty to the shareholders. Okay, yeah, sure. I'll give him that. Like, when they fought it originally and, you know, brought the argument, it seemed like, yeah, okay, I mean, that makes sense, you know. Do you want it to go through? No, here's how it would impact us. But to imply that it would destroy PlayStation, I just think that's too far. I don't think that gives their developers enough credit. They have a fantastic set of devs over at PlayStation, and I don't like how Jim Ryan presented the argument. I do think there's a stronger argument to be made, and I think, honestly, the Gamers lawsuit pointing out how it could affect the job market, I found that more enticing as a consumer than any of the other arguments about the potentiality of losing Call of Duty as an exclusive. That's just my thoughts on it. So, yeah, that argument about he has a duty to shareholders. Okay, but at what point is he being detrimental to the brand? That's my question. Because, yeah, Florian Mueller, as he said it, what did he say specifically here? Yeah. To ensure Sony doesn't lose its credibility with regulators and de-escalate. What's going to happen, like, next time Sony tries to acquire a company, they're going to look at it even harder. So, like, they could be they're already setting themselves up for an investigation with the Japan Fair Trade Commission now. And then in the future, when they try and merge with people, because we know after this Activision thing goes through, the mergers aren't done. There's going to be other companies that are acquired. They did acquire, you know, Bungie, and they're likely, everybody thinks they're going to acquire Square because they sort of have that partnership anyway. So what's going to happen in the future? That's the question, right? Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Please hit that subscribe button, hit that bell. I didn't do the promo in the middle. But if you're subscribed already, hit that like button because it helps the video go around. I appreciate it. Recording it first thing in the morning because kiddos were a lot last night. Thank you so much to the members. I appreciate you very much. If you want to become a member, click that join button right down there. Ding. Come on, Arrow, do it. Ding, ding. And before I go, be sure to check out the video I did yesterday talking about, I don't even remember what did I talk about yesterday? A thing happened yesterday. Let me look. Let me look at what I'm promoting really quick. An FTC shakeup could be good news for Xbox. So regardless of how I feel about an FTC shakeup, and honestly, I think the FTC has done some good work, like the idea of the non-competes going away, and they've actually had some pretty good wins for consumers. But what's happening with the Supreme Court, Superior Justices? Go watch the video. I'm going to get out of here. The video's right here. Bye for now, everybody.